Welcome back, everyone. Now, I want everyone who is watching this to know that there is going to come a time very soon when things are going to be very apocalyptic. And what I mean by that is, if you understand the true definition of apocalypse, it comes from the Greek apocalypsis, meaning unveiling or revealing. And for a very long time, we have been living among entities that we have given many, many identities to. But we haven't yet been able to come to a consensus on who or what exactly these beings are living among us. Why would anything need to come through a portal? It's already here and has been here for some time. Why would anything need to arrive on a spaceship when it's been here long before you, your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, and has been here long before them? We've all heard stories of mysterious encounters, right? And in many of those cases, there are several expected patterns. But then there are encounters where there are no flashing lights in the sky. There is no missing time, no messages carved into fields, no whispers through static. There's just a moment that is brief and quiet when someone realizes they are not alone. There are intelligences that move through our world without ever touching it. They don't abduct people, they don't speak to people, they don't leave footprints behind, they do not chase, they do not threaten, they do not even react when they are noticed. They simply just remain, watching. A figure standing at the edge of a tree line, a shadow where no shadow should be, a presence that a person feels before it is seen, and then it's gone before it can be understood. There is no escalation, no pursuit, no explanation, only that heavy, uncomfortable sensation of being watched. There is just presence. And that is the detail most people have overlooked. The silence, a stillness that is not accidental. And it is that absence of interaction that is the pattern. Sometimes it's not the entity that haunts you, it's the silence. When you start paying attention to these accounts, a certain kind of detail keeps repeating. People talk about seeing motionless figures standing at the edge of tree lines, just far enough away to make you question what you're looking at. Others describe black silhouettes slipping into their peripheral vision, and then they're gone the second they turn their heads. There are reports of tall forms standing in open fields with no sign of movement, and figures positioned high above on rooftops or hills, just standing there, watching. And almost every time someone works up the nerve to approach or call out, the figure disappears without a trace. What stands out is how passive these encounters feel. There is no chase, no attack, no reaction at all. The presence just stays there until it doesn't. Then, that leaves you sitting with questions, right? Why is there no aggression? Why no attempt at communication? Why is there never anything left behind that proves it was there at all? One way to approach this is to step back and consider a few possibilities without jumping to conclusions. Maybe what people are seeing are just observers. If there were entities monitoring human activity, like, for example, people from the future, they might behave the way researchers do when studying wildlife. The goal would be to watch without interfering. If the subject never realizes it is being observed, the behavior stays natural. From that perspective, silence and distance would make sense. Another possibility is that these presences are not fully present in our physical reality. They could be intersecting with it in a limited way, almost like a reflection that never quite passes through the surface of a mirror, or like a projection that briefly overlaps with its surroundings before fading out again. In that case, what witnesses describe as stillness might simply be the edge of something that cannot fully enter or engage. There is also the idea that intelligence does not automatically come with a desire to communicate. We tend to assume that awareness leads to some type of conversation, but that may just be a human expectation. Plenty of intelligent life on Earth operates without any interest in explaining itself to us. A shark does not try to hold a discussion. Ants do not pause to clarify their intentions, right? Even humans observe countless species and each other without ever attempting to establish dialogue. I mean, we watch each other online without the other person ever knowing. If something non-human exists alongside us, it may simply have no reason to speak. So rather than brushing these sightings off as imagination or stress, it is worth asking why certain details keep repeating across different people in different places. Why are these figures almost always described as completely still? Why do so many witnesses talk about the same feeling of dread, even though nothing actually happens? And why are those stories usually so simple with no real backstory or sequence of events attached? When you look at more dramatic encounters, in many cases they come with long, detailed narratives filled with dialogue, technology, long explanations. But these silent watcher experiences are different. The accounts are short. Someone saw something, it stood there, then it was gone. Another thing to consider is the possibility that these entities appearing at all comes with a cost. If something is crossing into our environment from somewhere else, that act alone might require an enormous amount of energy. Movement could increase whatever strain is involved, and communication might create disturbances that are easier to detect. If that were the case, staying completely still would not be random. It would be protocol. There is also kind of a natural logic to it. In the wild, being still and silent is one of the most effective forms of concealment. Predators and prey both rely on it. The less you move, the less you draw attention. If an entity wanted to observe you without being fully noticed, then of course being motionless would be the safest and most efficient way to do it. There is also the possibility that the silence is not passive at all. It could be deliberate. What if there is some kind of containment in place, something that keeps interaction from happening? That could mean there are rules involved, whether from within their own system or built into the structure of reality. It might be that certain natural laws prevent direct contact, the same way physical barriers stop us from moving freely through certain environments, right? So what if that contact changes something in ways we don't understand? What if interaction creates instability or draws attention from forces we can't see? And then there is the idea that they are fully aware of us. They see us clearly. They just don't need anything from us at all. Evil spirits or demons work this way. Some of them are hell-bent on destroying us. Some come and go as they please, in and out of people's lives. Some don't want to be anywhere near us, and as soon as we get close, they try to scare us away. And then there are the few who just don't do anything, but just roam the earth existing till the day of judgment. Something else that stands out in these accounts is how they end. There is no escalation, no strange activity that follows someone home, no repeated visits in the middle of the night, no physical marks, no missing time, no hidden messages waiting to be decoded. For most people, it is a single moment that never develops into anything more. So you can see how that would change the tone of the experience. It feels contained to that moment. Whatever was seen does not seem interested in pushing further or making itself known beyond that brief experience. If you look at it that way, the encounter feels more like something taking notice and then moving on. And maybe that is the part we should sit with for a minute. If something can notice you and it can fully register your presence and then choose to do nothing, that says something. That suggests intelligence without the need to interfere, which is very calculated. You see, we tend to fear what attacks, what invades, what disrupts our lives in obvious ways, but there's something about being seen and then left alone. It forces you to question your place in the environment. Are you the dominant presence here, or just one of many moving parts inside a system you barely understand? If these silent ones exist, then their power is in their restraint. It is in patience. It is in the quiet understanding that they do not need to prove themselves to us. They do not need for us to believe in them. They do not need acknowledgement. They simply continue somewhere at the edge of our awareness, appearing just long enough to remind us that we may not be the only observers walking around in this world. And if an unveiling is coming, and it is, if something hidden is slowly being revealed, and it is, it may not arrive with chaos or noise. It may begin the way it always has, sneaky, with stillness, with silence, with the sudden realization that something has been here the whole time, watching. That is, until they decide to step out right in front of us. Anyway, that's going to be all for now, folks, and there is more to come very soon. Please click the thumbs up button for me on your way out, and leave your thoughts about this in the comments below. Everyone have a great day, and until next time, stay awake, stay aware, stay safe, and I'll talk to you all soon. Since the dawn of time, shadows have followed us. Questions without answers. Legends without end. Whispers speak of worlds hidden from sight. Truths buried in myth, carved in stone, and locked away in secret text and hidden vaults. Across every culture, every age, fragments remain. Clues to something vast, something forbidden, something waiting. This
is Legends Mystery Masterclass. Here, we walk beyond the veil of ordinary understanding into ancient enigmas, forgotten corridors, and the secrets humanity was never meant to uncover. Prepare yourself. The mystery begins now.